Hello, hello, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Welcome back.
She got that song stuck in my head.
Welcome back.
Today, we are shooting episode 7. I know we said 5 last time, but that was really 6, so we're going to say that's 5.5. And because, we had that 2 parts. But we are technically speaking with DTL. And this is Alicia.
I'm Jasmine.
Yes. And I am Jillian, as always.
That's Jill.
As always. So what we did this week and what we are talking about this week is what's next.
What's next?
Who's next? We talked to several seniors around campus and a few upperclassmen just to see what's next post-Shaw, because we know that there is life after college. So you have to have a plan.
Ale.
Yes, you have to have a plan. So you come here for 4 years, hopefully, sometimes a little more. And if you are a super student like Alicia, you less than 4 years. But, we're going to hear what their plans are, and then we're going to come back and talk about what we did.
Right, what our plans were.
What our plans were,
Well,
what really
I
happened.
had for me.
Okay, hello,
But they
good
don't really work
morning.
that way.
You better
So-
preach. Okay?
Yeah.
What are your plans for post-grad?
To get a job and go to grad school.
So you're going to work and go to grad school at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
So has your plan changed since being at Shaw? Like, did you always know you wanted to go straight through?
Yes, I always knew I wanted to go straight through. Because if I stop, I'm not coming back.
I understand that. So, tell us what your major is.
Psychology.
Okay. So how has your college experience prepared you for what's next?
I think my college experience has prepared me to know, how to handle myself on my own, especially being out here by myself in a different environment.
Awesome.
Where are you from? Concord, North Carolina.
All right. So as an upperclassman, do you have any advice for underclassmen?
To watch who you hang around, because that's really what's going to make or break your college experience.
All right. Has COVID affected your plans in any way?
No, not really.
Okay. What is something you have enjoyed, even though you're on college during the COVID times, during the pandemic?
Something I really enjoyed, even though I'm on college, my friends has made this a fun experience.
Okay. So what is something you wish you would have done while here on campus?
Probably join an organization, even though I am a part of the psychology club and I'm the president, probably join something a little different.
All right, awesome. Thank you. You got it? Yep. Okay, so if you could just tell us your name and your major.
My name is Mariana McCoy, and my major is mass communications.
Awesome. So do you have a plan for post-graduation?
Yes, I do. I plan to move to Arizona and start my full-time career in public relations / media relations.
Awesome. Are you from Arizona?
No, ma'am, I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
Okay, cool. So has your plan changed since coming to Shaw?
Yes, it has. I switched my major. At first, I was undecided. And then I ended up going with mass communications. At first, I was thinking more so film, but I ended up changing it to public relations.
Awesome. So how has your Shaw or college experience prepared you for what's next?
Shaw has definitely prepared me for what's next. It's given me real life experience with my internships. My professors have been very helpful, very supportive, and guiding me in the right direction. And the tight-knit community has allowed me to be able to reach out to various sources, so I don't feel like just a number.
Awesome. So do you have any advice for underclassmen?
For underclassmen, my advice would be to work hard. Enjoy where you are, because this moment doesn't last. I know we all look towards graduation, but enjoy the moments that you're experiencing right now, because you're going to look back years down the line and miss those times.
That's a word, yes. So has COVID affected your plans any, or?
Slightly, but it hasn't really altered them. It just made me create a few adjustments as far as timing with everything, but I'm still on the same path that I was prior to COVID.
Awesome. And my last question for you is, what's something that you probably wish you would have done during college that you didn't get to do?
Oof. Something that I wish I would have done while in college that I didn't get a chance to do would be just experience more of that college, just have more of that college experience. I was focused a lot on the books and making sure that I attended classes and things like of that nature, which of course you should be, but trying to find that balance is what I wish I would have did.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Why Arizona?
I fell in love with Arizona as a kid, so I always wanted to go there. So when I was able to find a job out there, I just tried to internship out there, and I was just gonna move out there.
So your job is already lined up and stuff?
Prayerfully, I've been trying to get the internship and everything situated, so hopefully it's lined up.
Well, congratulations,
Thank
and I hope
you.
it works out for you.
Yes. Name and your major.
My name is Keon Tyson. My major is business management.
All right. So this is our episode about what happens after graduation. So just a quick couple questions for you. So what do you have planned after graduation?
What I have planned after graduation is I'm thinking about going to grad school, and I'm thinking about doing it at Shaw University because I'm going to play football again for 2 more years.
Okay, cool. So you're on the football team. What is your position?
I play linebacker, middle linebacker.
Okay. So has your plans changed, or have you always known that you wanted to go to grad school?
It changed a little bit because my coach, he had finally said that I got like 2 more years of football eligibility. So I told him I was going to do it here. So
That's
it did change a
awesome.
lot.
That is awesome. So do you feel like, you know, your experience here at Shaw or your college experience has prepared you for the real world?
I think it did, and then I think it did because I think I should have got more involved into Shaw. Like when I was a freshman and a sophomore, I think I should have got more involved because I stayed to myself a lot when I was a freshman. I only kept a small group of friends. So.
All right, so that's good advice for underclassmen to get more involved, get involved. All right, so has COVID affected your plans any?
It did in football because we don't have like the same schedule as we used to because we supposed to have played A&T our first game, but it changed up. So now we got Wingate our first game, but we still gonna get prepared for it.
That's awesome. All right, so what is something that you've enjoyed about COVID? Like, not that there was much to enjoy.
The thing I enjoyed about COVID is I had got a job. I had worked at Amazon, so I had got a lot of money during COVID, so it was pretty.
That's what's up. Well, that's awesome. Best of luck to you. I wish you the
Appreciate
best
that.
with your next couple years.
Appreciate that.
I'll ask you about 6, 7 questions, and it shouldn't take more than a few minutes, okay?
That sounds perfect.
Okay. First, tell me where you're from, your classification, and your major.
Okay, so I'm from Prince Frederick, Maryland, but I graduated out of high school. I came out of Virginia. I'm a first semester senior. I'm a business administration major with a concentration in management, and then I have an accounting minor.
Okay, great. Are you working remote or are you on campus?
I'm a remote.
Okay, sounds good. Do you have any plans lined up post-graduation?
Well, I have a pretty decent internship lined up for the summer with a company called Acquire. And since I don't graduate until December, there's a possibility that I'll stay with the company upon or after graduation. If that doesn't happen, I am looking to intern in Texas at another company. Me and Deloitte were in conversations. So hopefully that offer gets extended after I
Okay.
graduate. Yeah.
Well, good luck, Deshaun. I'm glad to hear that you have a few options, so you have an option and a backup. That's a really good job. Have your plans changed since you've been at Shaw, or have you always been in this major or with this course?
Okay. So I've always chosen this major, yes. Have my plans changed? Yes. Because I'm good with math and I'm good with numbers. So I had an interest in, I guess, dealing with finances. But then I took on this tax internship recently, which I'm completing now. And I realized, like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do numbers all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so Acquire is giving me an opportunity to get a feel for the management side and human resource side. So I'm anticipating that opportunity.
All right. Sounds good. How has Shaw or your college experience in all prepared you for what you have planned next?
I would say for the most part, just being able to use the resources that I'm given. Because as we all know, Shaw, we're a small school, so we have limited resources. But with those limited resources, if you find, I guess, the best characteristics of those resources and utilize those, it gets you far. So being at Shaw taught me how to basically, uh, what's the best word to think? Basically exhaust my limited resources.
I like it. Very resourceful. Very, very resourceful. What advice would you have for any underclassmen?
I would definitely say network. Networking got me so many opportunities that I wouldn't think I would have. And I would say build a relationship with the staff, because even though they're your instructors and your administrators, they're also the ones that can get you these opportunities outside of college or after graduation, or they're also the ones that they can become your mentor within a few years. So I would definitely say networking and building relationships.
Okay. Has COVID affected your plans any?
Uh, Not exactly. I kind of expected to show my face a little more senior year, because my first few years through college, I was ghost. I didn't really,
Really?
present myself. Yeah. So I kind of expected to be on campus, allow people to see me more. And then also I kind of took on a role as a president of our student athlete advisory committee. So having that and then wanting to show my face, COVID kind of,
Gotcha.
messed that up. But other than that, nah, not really.
Okay. What is something that you have enjoyed about your college experience?
I will definitely say the family aspect. I've built many relationships with people that I wouldn't expect to build relationships with. In addition, I wasn't much of a person, if that makes sense. Like
Okay.
I didn't like being around people. But getting acclimated with, like I said, staff members or my teammates or even some classmates that I've met within recent years, because of we do like certain breakout room groups and things like that. So just building those relationships and then understanding, I guess, the importance of family and camaraderie. I've enjoyed that experience.
That's good. Is there anything that you would have done differently?
Um, I don't think so. I think things were lined up pretty well because of the people I had around me. So
Okay. Well, Deshaun, those were all the questions I had. So like I said, once this gets ready to air, I'll send you a link so that you'll have access to it and you can see everything that we put together. But I do wish you the best of luck. You seem like you have a really good head on your shoulders and a really good plan for post graduation. So good luck. And if you
thank
need
you.
anything, our office is always here. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you very much. And you have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Thanks.
Okay, so we're back, and
We
we're
are
going to
back.
talk about the things that we did.
We did it.
What was supposed to happen, what really happened. So I'll start.
Ooh.
I went to the Winston-Salem State University.
Got something to say about that.
It don't matter. It's still the Winston-Salem State University. And I was an elementary ed major. I actually stayed in school an extra semester, so I graduated December 2011. And coming out in December made it very hard to find a job teaching. So what ended up happening for me is I worked 3 jobs just to be broke. I worked at a daycare. I was a part-time nanny. What else did I do? I babysat. I did a little bit of everything and was still broke. But I just needed to make it until principals were hiring again. So that lasted about 4 or 5 months. And then by the start of the following school year, I was able to get a position teaching in Winston. So I had a plan. My plan had some deviations, but it ended up working out in the end. So I started my career teaching shortly after graduation, but during, it didn't feel so short.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what happened for y'all?
So I was an English major at A&T, so the does not come before Winston. It comes before like illustrious or something like that, but I understand you can't say stuff like that about that school.
Really?
So as an Aggie,
We'll let you
I
have
love
that.
y'all, but you know, because they usually have like an I-40 battle, but nevertheless, I like that you had the grind though. The grind was there for you. I think there's some things that people miss in the middle, right? They get this, what happens, what's next? I didn't get the job.
Or get
oh my
deterred.
God, woe is
Oh,
me.
get
Woe
deterred,
is me.
yes.
And oh my gosh, I have nothing to do. But so for me in my house, I was actually a senior. I did 2.5 years in college.
See what I'm saying?
Wow.
Overachiever.
So I had college credits when I came to college,
Okay.
and then I went to school all year round. I never wanted to go home, so I went to both summer school sessions, and I tried to go to UNCG's winter session, but they wouldn't let me. Something about financial aid or something like that. So what I ended up doing was I went to school year round. I graduated. I came to A&T in 2008. I left in 2010.
Wow.
I was a December grad as well. I had been working in call centers, but I knew I didn't want to be in the call center. I couldn't stand it, child. They wanted me to sell stuff. And I'm like, these people already got sold stuff. That's why they call me. Why? What do you want me to sell to them? Upsell them. I don't sell, okay? But now I do. Jory, not like that. I had just had a daughter, and I just knew, like, I was like, I was in the National Guard, but I just didn't know. I wanted to be a high school English teacher. And I kept going to interviews. I would get called on interviews. I got called CMS, Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, Durham. Some other school systems had called, and they really wanted me to come teach. But at that point in time, something had just passed where they could not give me a position to be a
no lateral entry.
Highly certified teachers or something like that had just passed, right? So I could not get in the classroom without passing the praxis 2 or something like that. So it was really discouraging because people really wanted to hire me and they couldn't. So I had to kind of like land back on my feet and think, what do I do next? Believe it or not, I graduated in what year did you graduate?
2011.
Okay, so I graduated in 2010. So we were still having that issue with the market where everybody had lost their jobs. People were still trying to find jobs, everything. So I had to go work at Waffle House with a brand new baby. I had to go back live with my mom, and it was a humbling experience. But I want to tell anybody who's watching this video, sometimes you need that humbling experience to eat that humble pie, to bring you back down, to get you that grind, and to give you that fortitude, that intestinal fortitude, that gumption to kind of push you where you want to go next. So I worked at Waffle House, and I looked at jobs every day. And I was like, well, I had worked in a call center that was a credit card company. They did like skip tracing too, and they did like loss mitigation for mortgage. So I actually sat down one day and wrote out my resume when I was at work at Waffle House, and I applied for a job for Freddie Mac. Freddie Mac is a government service enterprise that does mortgage they back mortgages, they buy mortgages. So maybe it's a little bit more research. If you're a business major, you might know a little bit about mortgage-backed securities. That's where the money is in housing. So what happened is I said, if I can get here, I can get anywhere. So my daughter was 6 months old, and I applied for the job, and it was like water. I got the job, and I moved to DC with just me and my daughter. And I had already had a career in the National Guard. So I was actually coming to the end of my National Guard service, and I was just like, I'm out. And I left, and everybody thought I was crazy because I was going to DC with a 6-month-old. But I didn't care. Like, I just wanted to make sure I got out on my own. I think that's one feeling that a lot of people need is that I've worked so hard for 4 years, and I'm going back home. This ain't it. Or, or they want to trash your school. The school ain't worth nothing. This piece of, people will tell you too. Okay, you got the degree, now what? That don't mean nothing. But remember the conversation we had last week, right? Where it's not about some people who say that don't have nothing, first of all. Where's your GED? Where's there anything that you have? But they don't even have a high school diploma when they say that. But ultimately, you determine your next steps and where you go. You have to take that intestinal fortitude and drive and gumption and go. I think one thing it's on my Facebook page, but please don't try to find me on Facebook. But it says discipline is the bridge between kind of like where you want to be and where you want to go. And you have to have discipline to take you, because you won't always be motivated. But if you're disciplined, you'll always have something that's going to drive you and make the difference for you. So I say, pick up your discipline, pick up your patience, pick up your humbleness, I guess that is.
Yes, that's not right.
Take those in your next steps moving forward.
You got to.
Yeah.
Jill?
So I guess mine kind of lined up the way it was supposed to.
Yes, that's good.
It is good.
Right,
I'm happy for
right, because
somebody.
it does happen. It can happen. Went into A&T, 2008. Changed my major couple times. Did it all my freshman year though, so
okay.
it didn't really hinder me as much. I did get to a place where I was like a class short, maybe, but I went to summer school, came out in 4 years. The thing about A&T's elementary ed program is you cannot graduate with your elementary education degree without passing the Praxis 2.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us out
Which I really appreciate it because I don't need to have that. I got my degree, now what moment.
Right.
Like, I was like, oh snap. So took my Praxis 2 my junior year, going into my senior year. Well, you couldn't even student teach if you didn't
Praxis, your insurance.
yes, all of that, because they say when you graduate, we're sending your papers off to get you licensed.
Yep.
Right.
So all of it fell in place. However, I did hit a little bit of a snag. I did not get to stay in Greensboro like I wanted. So I'm not sure if this is how Guilford County is now, but when I was graduating, you had to do a pre-interview. It wasn't like Winston where you just kind of like email the principal, see if they had openings, go interview with that school. No, you had to do a general screening and then you could get into schools. Well, blew my general screening. I don't know. I just got so nervous and I just walked out of there like in tears. Like I was like, I'm not going to get a job teaching. I got a teaching license. Nobody's going to want me. And I remember my student teacher, like my cooperating teacher, was going out on maternity leave. She was like, well, you can start my year for me. And I was like, but when you come back, I still ain't going to have no job. And it's just like a part-time thing, subbing. So I started looking into subbing. Luckily, I was working at a summer camp in Winston. Some of the girls I was working with, they were like, hey, we're at this school. We're hiring. We like you. We're going to tell our principal about you, and you're going to come here. And that's what ended up happening. I got a job teaching in
The hood.
the hood and loved every second of it. Even taught all boys.
Aww.
Yes, taught all boys. I think that experience. Oh, and I had to go home and live with my mama and daddy. So I went from going to my own apartment in Greensboro to having to go home and live with my mama and daddy. And they weren't like strict or anything, but it's still like, dang, I live with my mama and daddy.
Right.
So
right.
and I mean that's the norm, guys. Like you not gonna come most of the time. You don't come out making so much that you can just like venture out on your own. Like
Not
I actually
all the
was
time.
home
Yeah.
for 3 years before I even like attempted to move into my old apartment. And at that point, I was just like, I'm 25. I need to come on out.
I mean, but if you had it, there was no rush.
There was
Right,
no
right.
rush. My parents, I could go home today and stay. Yeah.
You're so blessed.
Yes,
Yeah.
I could go home today and stay if I needed to, but it was just that I was like, dang, I did everything I was supposed to do, and I didn't get a job.
That's the feeling.
In
That's
the way-
what it is.
But I had a plan though. I was like, even if I have to sub, even if I have to, go back to the movie theater, go back to McDonald's, because I had those options. And that means wherever you are, whatever you do, if it's a little part-time job, you need to work and be on time. You need to do your thing, because if you ever have to go back, it never needs to be a question.
Right.
So when I didn't get a job, when I didn't get a job, I was like, I might be coming back. They was like, we want you to. So, that was my plan. So
Having
everything.
those options is good though.
Yeah.
It does not
Flip the table.
Yes,
Flip the table.
I'm eating this. You see
I got a degree.
Yeah. Oh, right.
It don't.
No.
Everybody got a degree. So
No.
it doesn't always happen that
Right,
way.
but you never
got
know
to figure it out.
where you are right now may lead to where you want to be in the future. So I remember this guy when I was at A&T. Jimmy John's had just popped on the scenes. He started working at Jimmy John's. Everybody was like, why you keep working at that sub shop? He was always working. It seemed like he was so diligent. Never seen him be as diligent in anything else as he was in this. And a couple of years later, the store downtown Greensboro was his store. And I'm like, so how'd you make that happen? So that's his store. Like they gave him that store because, he was their flagship person in that area. And now there's 100,000,000 bajillion Jimmy John's. I was about to say some shade, but It is. I mean, you know, if you show, you know, your diligence and you work hard, people see your dedication. You never know who's watching either.
Yeah,
you go
that's
somewhere and people are like,
And like
Hey.
Chick-fil-A, you have to work there first
Yes.
before you can own a franchise.
Yes.
Like you have to go through all those steps.
Yes.
So it's
Pay your dues.
don't ever feel like you were too good for any job.
Yeah,
like a
never.
degree is a piece
At
of
all.
paper
Right.
that is very important. You worked hard,
It is
Right.
but
just
you're
a
not.
stepping stone.
It is a
though.
stepping stone.
Right.
You are not too good for any
No.
job. So I think that goes
it's
to
a ticket
that.
to let you in the door.
You're right. That
So
degree
like
is
you're
not a
not
guarantee.
VIP, right? If you go to a concert, you get a ticket, you buy a ticket. You take that ticket and say, hey, this is my seat. This is your seat at the table. Now, does it mean that you're not on the menu? Does it mean that you're not serving? Like, you can sit out here, but that's after you do everything else. Like
Yeah.
dinner in LeBlanc, right?
Yeah,
So you got to set up the table and everything, and then you can sit down and eat.
right.
So just to think about that. I mean, you just really never know. Even like, you know, our producer last week, he was talking about how he started in the church. There's things that you can do in the church as well. Like, you never know who's going to church. I remember I went to a church, Wheeler Avenue,
Or
in
yeah,
Houston. I didn't know that the HR guy for my job went to my church. And I was like, and he saw me at church one time. He's like, hey.
yeah.
Hey,
You can make a job out of anything now.
Oh,
You can,
yes,
and like
listen.
JC said when she was here, she was like, you know, she interned for a long time before she, you know, got into where she was getting paid. So you don't know where these opportunities are happening. You're not too good. Just don't
Yes.
come out of here all high and mighty like I got my degree.
Right.
You know, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not starting at this job. You better.
Yeah.
Until you can get where you
Listen,
want to be, do what you
Especially
got to
right
do.
now, believe it or not. So I don't know. A lot of you all. I'm not even gonna say a lot of you all. A lot of our seniors are people who are they're 18 now. I mean, they're 18. They're 20 something now. So they were born, or probably like young, right when the stock market was doing. I mean, stock market, the job market, the housing market, and everything.
Yeah.
Started
Was
to
doing
do
what
that.
it's due now. What it's doing now.
Yeah.
Take some time. Go back. The pleasure, the beauty of the internet, the beauty of YouTube.
It's right there.
Look back
It
and
is
see what
right
happened to the job
there.
market in 2007 to 2011. The housing market 2007 to 2011. Go back and look and see what happened. Read about the struggle that people had.
Right.
See, it's gonna happen again.
It is.
How are you going to protect
History
yourself?
does repeat itself.
It
Be
never
prepared.
dies. It never dies. So, how are you going to protect yourself to prepare? Don't feel like because your homeboy has this job and he's making $60,000, like, oh well, that's a good salary coming out of undergrad.
Okay.
Like, if you're not
I'm still
a,
trying to get that. If we be or not. I mean, that's the truth. You come out of undergrad.
If y'all knew what we
made,
made, okay. If
right.
y'all, if y'all
First
knew
year
what we,
teaching.
oh my
Yeah.
god,
Teaching in the hood. So
Teaching
a
in
part of
North
your
Carolina.
paycheck goes
Sorry.
back to your job. Like, you're not just getting paid and it's all kicking
because your
giggles.
kids need stuff and you gonna buy it.
Exactly.
kids
And
as
then
a
you got-
student.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
students
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff, and you buy. Then you got real life bills that you might not have had in undergrad. That's gonna cost a lot. Taxes, savings, retirement. Like, life came real fast.
Insurance.
And so that's the
Insurance.
thing. That's one thing to think about. So, like, what's next, right? So, what's next is you need to start thinking about the lifestyle that you like to live, number one, right? So, if you like to go to brunch, you like to travel,
Yes, Lord.
which is a whole different show because I can hook you up on the cheap travel for the but you
I can tell you about brunch.
right. You have to start thinking about what kind of
Yes.
salary, where do I want to live to maintain? Do I need a 3-bedroom house or to rent? Or do I want to live in an apartment? You know, think about
Right.
things
It's a
like
lot.
that. Do I want to keep shopping from Fashion Nova every time I see something that I want? Do I need all the latest J's, or can I just go with something that's a little Bobo-ish? You know, things like that. There's something that's not name brand. I don't wear name brand, but I
She
think
didn't
I
say
look
Bobo,
cute.
did she?
It is.
But what I'm saying is you have to start thinking about what's next.
The bigger
So
picture.
if I don't want to go home,
big.
and it's okay to listen. If you have the opportunity to go home and stay with your parents, listen.
Yes.
If I had the opportunity, I mean, I went home for 6 months with a kid, but it is different when you have kids. You don't exist.
But if you have the
so-
resources, use them.
right? You
Yes.
know, if you have them, use them so that you can build. Right? You may say, "Well, I want to start investing. I want to buy a house. I want to do certain things." Use that. But
And
you have to
start
start
now.
thinking, because it's not just job that's next; it's life that's next. Right?
Yes, Lord.
What are some things I want to start incorporating into my daily routine so that I can be a productive member of society? Or what's next? Do I want to start going to therapy so that I can start working on myself and any issues that I've had in the past so that I can be a whole employee, friend, relationship person, whatever? It's up to you. But now you're no longer a kid anymore, right? You're no
No.
longer a student, right?
Nope.
Nobody else is responsible
Not
for
independent.
you now determine, and you could have really started determining that in undergrad. But who am I? Who am I really? I'm no longer, I'm going to just say, Alicia and Bobo's child. I'm going to say for me, I'm no longer Christina and Anthony's child. I'm Alicia, right? And nobody's looking at me and saying, oh, that's Christina them child. No, they're saying that's Alicia. And, Alicia is this, and this, and this. And you have to determine, when people say your name, what are people going to say after that?
Yeah.
What kind of employee are you going to be, right? Are you going to show up early or on time? Are you going to be dedicated? Are you going to be more than just an employee? Like I said last week, are you going to be someone who's well-rounded in the community? Or are you going to be someone who's just a shining star but not really, kind of jagged on the edges? Not really.
I mean, that speaks to what I was saying earlier. Like, you have to go get it because you never know where you have to go back for a minute, and it's not. You're not failing if you do not come out making the salary you want, or getting the job you want initially. That's not a fail.
It's growth.
It's growth. It is an opportunity for growth, and so many times you're not going to come out making what you want, doing what you want. You have to grow. You have to grow. You have to start at the bottom. You have to climb, because at the end of the day, you've earned, nobody's going to give you anything. You've earned nothing. You earned your degree, but don't come out entitled. Don't come out entitled thinking that because I did this, this automatically is going to happen. That's not how the world works for real people. So
and you need to get comfortable with being discouraged. Things are not going to work out. You're going to get some no's. Things aren't going to be what you thought they were. You need to learn how to toughen up in a matter of speaking, and then be able to pivot. Pivot and go again.
I raised my hand.
Yes.
I raised my hand. You have to know how to communicate. And what I mean by that is I've seen a lot of people go into this workplace and they don't know how to communicate when something is right, when something is wrong, to accept criticism or to accept feedback. And what happens is they get fired, let go, or they just start to crumble, right? I've seen where you have to be able to say, good morning, this and this is going on with me, blah, 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 blah. Even when it doesn't feel good to communicate, I'm not as far along in this project as I should be. Or I'm not understanding. Can you help me understand? Or is there someone who has the time to help me? Or even to be clear, to cover your tail, you have to learn. This is why, even in the HBCU setting, we always ask you, did you send an email? Or did you call? Did you leave a voicemail? Even if you call and leave a voicemail, send an email to follow up. Hey, I called in reference to this. Or just to sum up our conversation, thank you for taking the time to explain how water is wet to me. I didn't understand before, or was a foreign concept to me before, but you've connected the dots for me. Or I still don't understand. Is there any other resources? Because that shows number one, you didn't get the understanding, but you're asking for help. You ask for resources. So what happens is you're covering your tail. You're courteous
in your email.
So next week we're gonna have some good stuff here from career development, but
yeah. But I also think that you said ask for those resources, but go get it. Yes. Sometimes in this world you have to be a go-getter. If they have explained it,
free.
Okay.
YouTube and Google.
Okay, because if they have explained to you and you have and you still Instagram.
TikTok.
I will TikTok something in a heartbeat.
Is the new
I
YouTube.
Will TikTok something in a heartbeat.
You're right, but you're right. But don't be afraid to be a go-getter. If you've asked and you still don't understand, sometimes you might be a little weary about asking and asking again. And I mean, sometimes you have to show that initiative. So, what's next? Okay, I sent the email. You explained it. I still don't get it. What's next? I'm going to find out.
Right,
I'm going to reach out to some people around me, maybe in my inner circle that may have a better understanding.
Exactly. I'm going to take what you told me and keep going.
And I'm going to keep going. Join alumni groups. Join alumni groups. I'm not saying you have to give all your dollars and cents, but I am saying that you do have to join this alumni group because you never know, again, who you can get a job from or with.
Yeah.
But also, they may be able to tap into something that you're not able to tap into, or you don't know much about, and they say, "Oh, I know something about this. This is what I've learned." You'll see older people in the group.
That's called
who have
networking.
Yes, who have been in these fields, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've been through that at my job. This is how you skin that cat."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they will be more prone to help you because you
They
have that
will.
common factor. Like,
Right.
oh, you're alone
Yep.
too. Let me show you. Let
Right.
me help you. Let me
Right.
do this. So,
Right.
Yes.
And they're connected to other people. There's 6 degrees of separation. You know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that knows somebody that knows what you need.
yeah.
I'll take it.
So,
And I think
And
that's,
that works. I
look,
think
that's the nail in it right there. I think that's,
somebody should have sat this down and told me this back in 2000.
okay.
Build the life you want.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good.
It
I think
was.
that's great.
So
I think,
you've watched episode 7.
yes, today was episode 7.
Thanks for tuning in.
Episode 7 of Technically Speaking with DTL.
Yes.
We really appreciate you being here. We really appreciate you watching and subscribing. Share.
Share. Hit the bell.
Follow us on
What they say on
Instagram
YouTube? Thanks. Like, comment, and subscribe to
Yes.
our channel.
and ring my bell.
Ring the bell. You can ring my bell. Okay. I knew y'all was gonna do it.
Ring my bell.
It always happens.
We'll see you next week, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right. See you later.